Preparing to perform the BG Transmission Fluid Exchange service with the BG TFX Transmission Fluid Exchanger.
Important: read the safety data sheet for this product before use.
Caution: slip hazard. Use extreme caution when removing transmission lines and/or adapters before and after service. Transmission fluid may be pressurized and can eject unexpectedly. Leaked fluid can accumulate on floors or surfaces, creating slip hazards that increase the risk of falls and secondary injuries. Turn the service selector V1 to off, O. Turn the correct flow knob V2 to P2. Attach the BBO2 dispensing wand or any open-end adapter to the end of the marked service hose H1. Place into a suitable waste fluid container. The adapter opens the valve in the quick coupling to allow used fluid to flow out. Expect only a small amount of air or fluid during initial filling. Attach the BBO1 recharge adapter to the recharge port R on the back panel of the BG TFX. Ensure that the service hose with the open-ended adapter is secure. Apply air pressure to the BBO1 recharge adapter. The transmission fluid tube T should pressurize to approximately 45 psi, and the used transmission fluid will start flowing out the service hose. Once the used fluid is removed, disconnect the air supply and press the pressure release PR on the fill block until the pressure gauge reads 0. Continue holding the pressure release for an additional 5 seconds to ensure there is no residual pressure. This procedure ensures that the puck is all the way at the bottom of the transmission tube T. Ensure that the pressure gauge reads 0 and remove the cap from the new transmission fluid fill port F1. Pour approximately 4 gallons, 15 liters, of the appropriate transmission fluid into the fill port. Keep filling until the fluid is just over the strainer and a full stream of fluid is visible flowing into the excess fluid container X. This procedure ensures that the system is full and all trapped air has been removed. Allow fluid level to drain down to the mesh strainer. Replace the cap F1. Remove the BBO1 recharge adapter. Remove the BBO2 dispensing wand or open-end adapter from the service hose H1. The BG TFX is now ready for service. Important: the BG transmission service is a maintenance service, not a repair service. A thorough inspection of the transmission, including lines and coolers, should be performed and all repairs made before performing the service. Check the vent on top of the transmission to be sure it is open and functioning. Inspect seal areas and gaskets, and replace any that are leaking or badly deteriorated. If the pan gasket needs replacing, it is recommended that the transmission filter be replaced as well. The filter should be changed anytime the pan is removed. Check hoses, metal lines, and connections to ensure all are in good repair. Start the vehicle's engine and run until normal operating temperature is reached. Check the transmission fluid level. If it is more than 32 ounces, 946 milliliters low, add fluid, but leave room for 11 ounces or 325 milliliters of BG Quick Clean for transmissions. Part number 106. Do not overfill transmissions. Shut off the engine and locate a junction in either of the 2 transmission lines that will allow you to install one of the included adapters to each end of the junction. See possible points to make connections in this manual. Separate the lines at the chosen junction and attach adapters. Use pinch-off clamps on rubber lines to prevent transmission fluid loss while connections are being made. Note: some vehicles also use the radiator to help cool the engine oil. Ensure that the lines you are working with actually go to the transmission and not the engine. Press and hold the pressure release PR button on the fill block of the BG TFX to be certain that there is no pressure in the machine. Connect the BG TFX service hose H1 and H2 to the adapters. Either hose can be attached to either adapter. Flow direction is corrected after the vehicle's engine is started. Caution: if the vehicle is on a lift, ensure that no equipment, tools, or personnel are underneath before lowering the vehicle. When raising the vehicle, ensure that the machine is closed and hoses are free of kinks. Turn the service selector V1 to off, O, and connect the machine to shop air at the service air SA fitting on the side of the machine. Start the vehicle's engine and check for leaks. Determine flow direction through the sight glass SG. Flow should be in the direction of the flow arrow. Correct flow direction, if required, by turning the correct flow knob V2 90 degrees. Caution: the service selector V1 must remain in the off O position until flow direction has been corrected. Add the contents of one 11-ounce or 325 milliliter can of Quick Clean for transmissions, part number 106, into the additive funnel F2. Turn the service selector V1 to the Add plus position to draw the cleaner. Run the pump until fluid is drawn in, plus an additional 15 seconds to ensure that the fluid ends up in the vehicle. Set the service selector V1 back to off, O. The vehicle should then idle for 15 minutes. With the engine running, shift the transmission through all the gears so the valve body in the transmission is actuated to ensure BG Quick Clean gets to all the parts during this procedure. Make sure the brake is fully applied and the drive wheels have stopped turning between gear changes to prevent damage to the transmission or differential assemblies. After adding BG Quick Clean, the vehicle should not be run longer than 30 minutes performing the transmission fluid exchange. Note: if the vehicle cannot be placed on a lift, chock the wheels, apply the brakes, including the parking brake, and carefully shift the transmission through the gears several times with the engine running at idle speed. The vehicle is now ready for the transmission fluid exchange. With the engine still running, turn service selector V1 to service S. The transmission's own pump, along with the diaphragm pump in the machine, begins to exchange immediately by pumping new fluid into the vehicle and extracting used transmission fluid from the vehicle. The used fluid from the vehicle is transferred into the bottom of the transmission fluid tube, T, at the same rate that the new fluid exits the top and returns to the vehicle. This means that the level of fluid in the transmission and components remains the same at all times during the exchange. The fluid level in the transmission does not require monitoring. For best results, the operator should be inside the vehicle shifting the transmission through its gears as in the previous step to ensure that all cleaner and used transmission fluid are purged from the valve body. As the transmission continues to pump used transmission fluid into the transmission fluid tube, T, a preset bypass valve opens after a pressure differential exists between the new and used transmission fluid lines. This routes the incoming fluid around the transmission fluid tube, T, and into the transmission. The exchange is complete when the gauge pressure drops and/or the diaphragm pump sound changes. Note: the BG TFX contains a diaphragm booster pump that can speed up the exchange on low-pressure, low-flow transmissions. The service can be performed without boost by disconnecting the machine from shop air for the exchange. Shop air is required for the machine's additive function to work. When the fluid exchange is complete, add 11 ounces or 325 milliliters of BG ATC Plus, part number 310, or BG CVT Plus, part number 303, to the additive funnel F2. With the engine running, Turn the service selector V1 to add, plus run the pump for 15 seconds after fluid is drawn in to ensure it ends up in the vehicle. Set the service selector V1 back to off, O. Check the level of transmission fluid in the transmission and adjust accordingly. The BG-TFX has the ability to add and remove additional transmission fluid with the vehicle's engine running. Pour the desired amount of fluid into the additive funnel, F2, and turn the service selector V1 to add. Run the pump for approximately 15 seconds after fluid is drawn in to ensure the fluid ends up in the vehicle. Set the service selector V1 to off, O. To remove fluid, press and hold the Remove Fluid button on the BG-TFX tower until the desired amount is removed into the excess fluid container, X. Shut off engine and press and hold the Pressure Release, PR, to remove any pressure trapped in the system. Remove adapters and reconnect transmission fluid lines. Service is complete.